to deliver net zero, we need a whole of society approach. That means working with every business, every industry that may have a high carbon footprint. It may be a renewable industry, it may be a solar industry. The key point around net zero is that we work with everyone to decarbonise. We can't sort of just refuse the opportunity for everyone to have that conversation about how they're going to deliver. And everyone is going to be on a path to net zero, and I want to make sure they all achieve it. So when net zero emerged as a policy framework, there were those who said, oh, 2050 is too far away. And no one's going to sort of look at this as kicking the can down the road. Actually, 2050 isn't too far away when it comes to sort of long-term business decisions and investment decisions that need to be made. In the review, I talk about us having sort of 43 months since I signed net zero into law as energy minister, but there's now only 324 months until 2050. So you sort of frame it like that. Actually, it's not sort of far off. But what net zero did was not just to provide long-term certainty for the opportunity for businesses to plan for the future. And let's not forget, it's not just 2050, it's the 70% emissions reduction in our NDC for 2030, which is also sort of coming up around the corner very soon. At the same time, what net zero did is it took a target of 80% emissions reduction on 1990 levels to 100% emissions reduction on 1990 levels. And what that meant was that everyone previously said, oh, we're in the 20%. It can't be us because it's just too difficult for us. We're an industry that's a high energy intensive user, carbon emitter. We can't do it. What net zero did is to say, actually, there's no place to hide, and net zero is everyone's business, and everyone has to now get on board and get involved. I think net zero is eminently achievable, and we may even achieve net zero before 2050. If you talk to people like Nigel Topping, they are enormously positive about the technological progress that we're making. And if you'd asked me 3.5 years ago when I signed net zero into law that 90% of the world's GDP would be under a target of some form to achieve net zero, I simply wouldn't have believed you. Net zero has gone viral. What we need to ensure now is that the delivery and implementation of net zero also goes viral, and that we recognise that while we have the targets, we're also going to deliver on those targets for the future. So I'm immensely positive. Things are definitely moving in the right direction in the UK. We've seen a ban on fracking having been restored. We've seen a ban on onshore wind about to be properly removed. I think it's really positive opportunities, and above all, it's not just being driven by the politicians and the organisations and businesses at the top. There is a groundswell of support from the bottom, from society, to be able to deliver on this and ensure that we can tackle the climate crisis.